You can lock the doors. You can check under the bed. You can keep the lights on all night. But the truth is, when you're babysitting, you're in someone else's house, and you're vulnerable. Their rules, their routines, their secrets. And sometimes their secrets don't stay hidden for long. Tonight, I'll be sharing 3 babysitting stories. Real accounts, sent to me by people who say they'll never babysit again. Each one starts like any ordinary night, with a checklist, a snack, and a child asleep upstairs. But before the night was over, every single one of them came face to face with something they couldn't explain, and wished they never saw. I'm just here to tell you what they experienced. What you believe is up to you. Lindsay, a college sophomore who'd been babysitting on and off for years. She was responsible, dependable, the kind of girl every parent trusts with their kid. One Friday night, she was asked to watch a 4-year-old boy named Max in an upscale neighborhood outside Denver. It was her first time working for this family, and it was also her last. The parents were polite but distant. The mom gave her the rundown quickly. Bedtime at 8 p.m., no sweets after dinner, and if Max got scared, there was a 2-way baby monitor in his room. Lindsay thought it was a bit excessive for a 4-year-old, but she shrugged it off. The parents left, and the evening went smoothly. Max was sweet, a little shy, and drifted off to sleep without much trouble. Lindsay curled up on the couch, scrolling on her phone, the monitor resting on the coffee table in front of her. Around 9:15, she heard something over the monitor, a faint whisper. She leaned closer. The speaker crackled, then settled into silence again. Probably Max talking in his sleep, she thought. But then it came again, this time louder. It wasn't Max's voice. It was deeper, guttural, and it wasn't speaking. It was laughing. She stared at the monitor. The screen showed Max's room dimly lit by a nightlight. He was asleep in bed, his blanket pulled up to his chin. There was no one else in the room. She turned the volume down, unsettled, but not quite scared. Technology glitches. Voices bleed through frequencies. She told herself it was just interference. But 10 minutes later, the sound returned. This time, it wasn't laughing. It was humming. A slow, tuneless hum. A lullaby, but off, wrong, like someone who didn't know the song but was trying to remember it. And then, over the humming, she heard Max's voice, clear and trembling. "Stop it, I don't like when you do that." Lindsay stood. Her heart was pounding. She looked at the monitor. Max was sitting up in bed, looking toward the corner of the room, just out of frame. She grabbed her phone and raced upstairs. When she opened the door to his room, Max was lying down again, eyes shut, asleep. There was no one else there. She checked the closet, under the bed, the window. Everything was locked. Everything was clear. She stayed in the room a while just to be sure. Max never stirred, but when she went back downstairs, the monitor was off, dead. When the parents came home, she didn't say much, just that Max had a little trouble sleeping. They paid her, thanked her. As she left, she noticed something. By the front door, on a narrow table, was a framed photo. It was old and faded, and in it was a little boy who looked exactly like Max. But something was wrong. Max had blue eyes. This boy had green. And behind him, barely visible in the shadows, was the faint outline of a tall figure, wearing something long and black. The caption under the photo read, "Max, 1994 to 1998. Lindsay never went back. Teresa. She's in her 30s now, but she swears this memory is still fresh as the day it happened. It was summer of 2005. Teresa was 16, watching 2 kids, Ava and Dylan, at a house on the edge of town. Their parents were going to a wedding and asked her to stay the night. She said yes. More hours meant more money. The house was large and old, the kind that creaked when no one was moving. But Teresa didn't scare easily. At first the night was easy. They watched a movie, had popcorn, and played a board game. The kids went to sleep by 9. Around 11:30, Teresa went into the kitchen to get a drink. That's when she heard it, a loud, solid bang from the basement door. She froze. It wasn't just a thud like something falling. It was the sound of something hitting the door with force. She waited. Silence. She thought maybe one of the kids had gotten up and slammed a door. She checked. Both of them were fast asleep. She returned to the kitchen. The house felt colder now. A few minutes later, another sound came. This time it was unmistakable. 3 slow knocks. From the other side of the basement door. Teresa approached it, heart racing. The door had a small vent near the bottom. She crouched down. Nothing. She placed her ear against the wood. At first, just silence. And then, breathing. She backed away quickly, grabbed the phone, and called the kid's dad. He answered groggily, but when she told him what happened, he suddenly went quiet. "Did you open the basement?" he asked. "No," she replied. "Don't open it. Just stay with the kids. We'll be home in an hour." That was all he said. Teresa locked herself in the kids' room until the parents returned. She could still hear movement downstairs the whole time. When they came back, the dad went straight to the kitchen. She heard him open the basement door, heard him go down, heard him come back up. When he returned, his face was pale. "There was nothing there," he said. "Probably the pipes or raccoons." But he didn't believe that. She could tell. And as she left the house that night, she noticed something stuck to the inside of the basement window. A small piece of torn paper pressed to the glass. It had 3 words written in messy, jagged handwriting. "Let me up." She never returned. The family moved away 6 months later. Kyle, a high school senior who only babysat occasionally. He'd just moved to a new town and was looking for easy money. One night, a neighbor down the street asked him to watch their daughter, Emily, while they went to a dinner party. Just 3 hours. He agreed. They left around 6. Emily was 6 years old, quiet, and loved to play with her dolls. She was polite, well-behaved, and spent most of the night talking in soft voices to her toys. But something felt off. Around 8 p.m., Emily brought one of the dolls over to Kyle. "She wants to say hi," she said. Kyle played along. "Hi there, what's your name?" The doll didn't move, of course, but Emily whispered, "She says her name is Clara. She likes you." Kyle chuckled, uneasy. "Cool. Clara's a nice name." Then Emily leaned in and said something that stuck with him. "She used to live here, you know, before us. She doesn't like being forgotten." He tried to laugh it off. "Okay, well, let's make sure Clara's happy then." He didn't think much of it until 8:30. That's when Emily stood up, walked to the hallway, and said out loud, "They're here again." Kyle followed her, confused. "Who's here?" She pointed at the front door. "They come every night. They knock once, then they watch." He opened the door. No one was there. He closed it, but a minute later, the doorbell rang. He opened it again. Empty porch, quiet street, no footsteps, no cars. He turned around and froze. Emily was standing at the end of the hallway holding the doll. "She says don't answer the 3rd time. That's when they get in." Kyle locked the door, all the doors. 10 minutes passed. No more rings. He tried to calm Emily down with cartoons, but at 8:52, the doorbell rang again. Emily screamed. She ran into the kitchen, clutching the doll, and wouldn't come out. She kept repeating, "Clara says hide. Clara says hide. Clara says hide." Kyle waited near the door, holding a fireplace poker. Every minute felt like an hour. No movement, no more rings. At 9:15, the parents came home. Emily ran into their arms. Kyle tried to explain what happened, but they didn't seem surprised. They just said, "She talks to her dolls a lot. It's just her imagination." But as Kyle was leaving, Emily ran to the door. She handed him the doll. "She wants to stay with you now," she said. He smiled awkwardly. "That's okay, you keep her." But Emily shook her head. "Number, she's done here." He walked home with the doll tucked under his arm. He put it on a shelf in his room, forgot about it. 2 nights later, at exactly 8:52 p.m., his doorbell rang. Once, then silence. He looked outside. No one. He turned to go back inside and noticed something in the mirror near the front door. The doll was facing the door. It hadn't been when he left the room. The next night, it rang again. This time, twice. Hit that like button, subscribe for more terrifying true tales, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chilling story. Until next time, watch the monitor, check the basement, and never answer the third ring.